SnowTrax is sponsored by Ski-Doo, Yamaha Snowmobiles, conquers snow, and by FXR Racing, full throttle addiction.
There's one thing each member of the crew here at SnowTrax has that they value more than anything else: our credibility. Our opinions can't be bought, and when we say we ride what we test, we mean it. It's for this reason we wait till the end of the year to reveal our SnowTrax Real World Sled of the Year. This information has to be based on credible experience, and the only way to gather that experience is time in the saddle. Lots of it.
Last season, the crew was very conflicted about what sled was truly the best of the best. There's so many great choices, and the final decision eventually came down to just little details and personal preferences. This year, the competition was equally as strong. In fact, every sled that we tested this year was improved over last year's version. But the truth is, one of them stood out from among the crowd.
Our 4 finalists for this season's Sled of the Year showdown really highlight the attributes that make for a great sled: power, ride quality, and handling. And each has its own set of strengths and weaknesses. They are the Yamaha SR Viper XTX, the Polaris Axis Pro S Switchback 800, Ski-Doo's 800 Renegade XRS, and Arctic Cat's XF 6000 Snow Pro. Our Yamaha SR Viper XTX has been a fun sled this year. It's comfortable, has the absolute best 4-stroke motor in the business, and it just plain looks awesome. Yamaha gets big bonus marks in the style and power departments.
Our XTX package comes equipped with a 141-inch Camoplast Cobra track with a 1.6-inch lug. While perhaps a bit tall for daily riding, there's no question this extra lug helps improve the XTX's off-trail capabilities. Ergonomically, the Viper is comfortable enough and hasn't left anybody complaining about anything besides its nearly non-existent windshield. The 1049cc triple that sits under the hood growls like a tiger and lets you know that there's plenty of torque behind that right throttle thumb. Unfortunately, things we have been commenting on for a while are still irritating us today. Overly stiff suspension, lazy backshift, and vague steering mean that we have to fiddle with these sleds to get them to perform the way we know they should.
Ski-Doo's 2015 Renegade XRS 800 E-Tech is better than it's ever been with its new RAS2 front end. This setup dramatically improves front-end stability on the trail, which results in a huge increase in overall rider confidence. Pair the handling improvements of the RAS2 front end with the already unbelievable ride of what we feel is the industry's best rear suspension, the R-Motion, and you've got a sled that will exceed the expectations of almost any rider.
If there's one thing that we have trouble rationalizing with the XRS, it's got to be value. This is the most expensive sled in this category, and even though Ski-Doo has a great reputation for fit and finish, given all of its competition, we do wonder if you're actually getting more for your money. The maxed out KYB piggyback shocks found on the front of the XRS and the R-Motion's rapid adjust system on the tunnel provides maximum adjustability with minimum effort. The 137-inch R-Motion rear skid is wrapped in a 1.5-inch Camoplast ripsaw that'll pretty much give you traction anywhere you look for it on the trail, and when you take it off trail, it's still extremely capable.
Ergonomically, the XRS is comfortable for most and has all the features you'd expect to find on a high-end model Ski-Doo. It's not quite a one-size-fits-all that's universally comfy for everyone though. The 2015 XRS with its RAS2 front end handles every bit as precisely as it did last year. It's just far less nervous in a straight line. We definitely like it, and until we rode it back to back with its competition, we really didn't have anything negative to say about it. Arctic Cat won the SnowTrax Real World Sled of the Year last season with its LT Gray 6000. Everyone who rode that sled loved it except for one detail: suspension plushness. This season, Arctic Cat came to the party with a whole new shock valving package, and the results are astounding. Saying it's a big improvement is simply not adequate.
Pair the improved ride this season with the XF chassis and track, and you've got a 6000 that is even more desirable. We've had no issues with our 6000 XF. Even after a few thousand miles, it's been bulletproof. It's good on gas, good on oil, runs clean, and has one of the most inspiring power bands of any two-stroke in the industry.
Rider positioning on the 6000 XF is the same as any other Pro Cross cat. We like everything about it, except for the sharp angle on the trailing edge of the side panel. It digs into our knees when we're really hanging it out in a corner. The extra traction offered by the XF's 137-inch ripsaw with its 125-inch lugs is borderline for a sled listed as a crossover. It's a perfect setup for trail riding, but really isn't going to impress anyone venturing off of the hardpack.
What's not to love about the XF? There are a few things. We've already mentioned the side panels, and we really don't like high-end sleds that have no compression adjustability on the shock package. And we are so super done with that hood thong thing that Arctic Cat calls a windshield. It's sexy, but it sure don't do much. The biggest news in the industry this season was without a doubt the Polaris Axis. Polaris claims it's 97% new, and we see no reason to argue. There's no doubt it's ultralight, and I don't think anyone saw this 800 power plant coming. But you sure can't miss it as it blows by you on the lake.
We had a number of Axis models in the fleet this winter, and it became evident very early on that the favorite was definitely the Switchback Pro S 800. What makes it so desirable? First off, it's easy to ride. In fact, it's so easy to go fast on this sled, it's almost like you're cheating. Simply sit forward on the seat and lean your body to the side in a corner, and it goes exactly where you point it. On the straights, just shift your weight back a few inches to get the skis light for maximum acceleration. It's almost too easy, and it's definitely too much fun.
Is the rear end of the Axis as good as the industry-leading R-Motion? No, it's not, but it ain't far off. A properly tuned Axis switchback rear end does a great job of making stutter bumps and mid-size moguls disappear, and there isn't a single person on the crew who would trade the incredible ride and handling of the Axis front end for any other rear suspension in the industry. Its walker piggybacks can be set from ultra soft to ultra stiff. The front bulkhead will take abuse, and the Polaris IFS delivers ride and handling characteristics that are absolutely second to none.
Ergonomically, this sled seems to be a one-size-fits-all type ride. Big guys, little guys, and everyone in between came away from the Axis gushing about how comfortable it was. Its flat seat may seem strange to look at, but the on-center riding stance the seat provides helps keep the sled going in the direction you point it. The switchback rear end is wrapped in 137-inch 1.25 lug Camoplast ripsaw too, and it's a great example of what a crossover sled isn't. Sure, it's got a longer track, but this sled does not shine off trail as bright as it does on the trail, and the whole crew here agrees this is a performance trail sled, not a crossover. Once that's understood, this track setup is fantastic.
We can't finish our synopsis of the Switchback 800 without talking about the power plant under the hood. This new 800 is definitely the standout motor of this season. The significant changes Polaris made to this 800 have pushed it to the front of the pack in terms of horsepower and, in turn, top speed. It's also snappier and feels lighter because it is. It's good on gas and oil, and it sounds great.
Now it's time to ask the most important question of all. If these four sleds represent our favorite picks from each manufacturer, which one of these four sleds is the best? And I think you probably already have an idea of what we're going to say. The Yamaha Viper is a good sled, but it's just not there yet and has to be eliminated first. The Skidoo is awesome, no question, in countless ways, but we're getting tired of the front end ride and bent bulkheads. The 800 E-Tech mill, while still impressive, just doesn't have the same wow factor it did a few seasons ago. This leaves us questioning whether or not, in paying more for a Skidoo, are you actually getting better value?
Comes down to Arctic Cat's XF 6000 Snow Pro and Polaris's Axis Pro S Switchback 800. Both of them impress us every single time that we squeeze the trigger. Both of them are extremely fun to ride. They both look great, and we've had no problems with either of them the entire season. But the results are undeniable. Every person who rode the Axis Pro S Switchback 800 loved it. Even people loyal to other brands agreed it was the most comfortable, offered the easiest handling, the best front-end ride, and a more than acceptable rear-end ride. It has the coolest gauge package ever, and the new switchgear works every bit as good as we hoped it would. And it's a great deal.
The truth is, it was actually pretty easy this season to pick Polaris's Axis Switchback Pro S as our real-world sled of the year because it outperformed its competition in nearly every category. So congratulations to Polaris for a stellar first year with the Axis and for its new title as the SnowTrax Real-World Sled of the Year.
If you liked this video, post a comment and tell us what you think. Then click on this link to subscribe to SnowTrax TV here on the YouTube channel.